Hey everybody. I love a term that took me 20 years to recognize and was what described my life in a nutshell. Many people would tell me I was so high energy or I did too much or I'm always so busy, but inside I didn't feel that way at all. It was simply how I loved to live my life. Sure, before I knew my purpose and who I was, which was probably about 28 years old, I was a little late bloomer. All of those things were true. Once I set a purposeful path, following what I love to do, who I love to do it with, and where I would do it, the rest of my life fell into place. And suddenly, what felt stressful wasn't so much anymore. I learned to say no and pick the meaningful work, social activities, philanthropy endeavors, and wellness commitments that 100% resonated with who I knew I was. Suddenly, the stress turned to a term called eustress, E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S. Look it up, people. When life is busy, full, rich, rewarding, and purposeful, yet it doesn't feel overwhelming because everything in it is very intentional, that is the feeling of eustress. It still makes people head spin who are around me because yes, I still look busy. I still have a ton of energy. And I just love life. The day starts for me around 6 a.m., 5:30 to 11 p.m. or so. Family, working, networking, teaching, sitting on board, sailing competitively too, swimming, yoga, the gym, museums, live performances, dinner parties, traveling, writing a book finally, and so much more. But it didn't feel like a lot. I have ways of rolling with it and actually getting energized by it. So where do high performers and people who take themselves seriously at least 90% of the time operate? Recently, a friend joined a group called Chief, and she was telling me about it, and I said, it sounds pretty cool. It's a group of women all across the country, and all of a sudden, I started meeting chiefs and chief alums and former chief guides all over the place the more I talked about chiefs. These women call themselves chiefs and live what they describe as a multi-hyphenated life. I love that term too. What does that mean? Well, it's not a scattered identity, but a modern leadership architecture. They're not talking about women doing too much or being too much. Chiefs' operating systems are intellectually sharp, culturally current, and very chief-worthy. If it seems like the old leadership model rewarded specialization, I feel like the new economy rewards synthesis. Women no longer choosing one lane, they're building intersections. And this multi-hyphenated women concept, they're not unfocused whatsoever. They're innovative, they're focused, and they're adaptive. My career naturally embodies this synthesis as a founder, author, board member, advisor, investor, athlete, and of course, the ultimate storyteller. So that's not fragmentation, it's pattern recognition and connecting the dots across multiple domains with a purpose. For years, women were told to pick a lane. Executive or creative, strategic or tactical, empathetic leader or caregiver, corporate or entrepreneurial. Many of the most effective leaders today are intentionally multi-hyphenated. Founder, author, investor, advisor, operator, creator, strategist, mentor, athlete, parent, builder, philanthropist. Again, not because of a lack of focus, but because of intention, because of the development of the ability to connect many worlds. This is why I'm so excited to speak with a former chief guide and another author, Kim Svoboda, who wrote Bold Leadership recently, published, and in an interactive lunch June 10th in Chicago, and a very chief conversation that we will have that's called Uncommon Power, Why the Best Leaders Refuse to Blend In. The future may belong less to people who fit neatly in a few categories and more to those who can assimilate and thrive across many. Thanks for sharing your multi-hyphenated way of life and for subscribing to my channel. Check out more of these philosophies in my book called Seek Your Unique on Amazon. And you too can possibly turn stress into eustress to live your best multi-hyphenated life.